All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are doing the second part of homework number 8 video. Jen picked the odds, so Masuko is going to do the odd problems with you. They're going to be solved the exact same way as the even. So I'll record this half, and we'll continue jamming on this. So it says write the slope-intercept form. So let's write, what is the slope-intercept equation? Y equals mx plus b. So these equations are not in slope-intercept form. These are in standard form. So they're in ax plus by equals c form. And so if you remember our steps, which should be in your notes, which should be in your journals, we've got to move the x term from the left side over to the right side. And whenever we move anything from one side of the equal sign to the other, we always have to use inverse operations. And typically, we're going to be subtracting because the x is going to be a positive term for the most part. So if this is just a singular x, it's a positive x, so are we going to add or subtract, friends? Subtract. Very good. So we're going to subtract x from both sides. If we subtract x from both sides on the left side, that cancels. And so what are we left with on the left? We have a negative what? Negative y equals, and Nathan said that 7 minus x is not like terms. We're going to put our x term first, because if you look at our slope-intercept form equation, our x term comes before our constant. So we'll do negative x. What type of 7?
Positive.
Positive. There's one more step that we need to do in order to make this y positive. I can change the sign on the 7, or on the y rather, and make it positive, but it means I need to change the signs of everything after that. So instead of a negative x, it becomes a what? Positive. Very good, is that? And instead of a positive 7, it becomes a negative 7. So my final answer, Nathan, good. Y equals what?
Y equals negative x.
Not negative x.
Positive.
Positive x, what? Minus
7.
7. Very good. Very good, guys. Okay, looking at number 13, it's going to be the same exact step. We've got to move our 2x. It's a positive 2x. What operation is going to move a positive 2x? Minus, good. Or subtract. So when I subtract 2x from both sides, on the left side it cancels. What do I have left over? What am I going to bring down? Negative y. Good. Make sure that you keep the negative with the y. And negative 6 minus 2x. Those are not like terms. So we're going to put our negative 2x first. What type of 6? And these are going to be the same step as we did with number 11. If this is a negative y, I can make it a positive y, but it means I have to change the signs for everything after that. So instead of a negative 2x, what is it going to be now? Positive. Instead of a negative 6, it's going to be a positive 6. So is that what's my final answer going to be? Y equals? Michael's late to the party in the back there. All right. We've got number 15. If it's a positive x on the left side, what operation is going to move it? Subtract. Very good. X minus x cancels. What do I have left over? 2y equals negative x plus 4. Okay. This looks a little different than the previous two that we've done. We have a 2 in front of our y. What operation is going to get rid of the 2 in front of the y? Division. But if I divide on the left side, I also have to divide on the right side, and I have to divide everything by 2. Nobody should be left out. So the 2's cancel. What do I have left over? Y. Can I reduce anything right here with the negative x over 2? Nope. There are several ways of writing it. You can write it as negative 1 over 2x, or you can write it as negative x over 2. That's okay. But I can reduce 4 over 2. What's 4 divided by 2? 2. Positive or negative?
Positive.
Good. Here's my answer. So you guys will do the other half. You guys will do 12, 14, and 16 on your own. See it, sweetie? Did you see it? Okay. Okay. That's okay. Okay, let's keep going. Number 17. Same steps, y'all. It's just high school's getting out. Okay, if I have a positive 14x, what is the operation that's going to move the positive 14? Negative or subtracting. And then this cancels on the left side. What do I have to bring down? A 5y equals, these are not like terms. What is the negative 49 missing if it was going to be a like term? An x, a variable. Good. So then I've got negative 14x minus 49. There's one more step. How do I get rid of the 5 in front? Good. This makes the 5's cancel. And what am I left with? Our y on the left. And then am I able to simplify anything right here? Negative 14 divided by 5? Do you guys remember this from last year, gentlemen? I'm not shocked. For Sean, it was 2 years ago. We're converting from standard form into slope-intercept form. Your brother's really good at it. And he has incredible work. Like, he shows his work so well, and his handwriting is awesome. I'm making my YouTube video right now. Bye, sweetie pie. Okay, last one, guys. If I've got a positive 3x on this side, what's the inverse operation that will move the positive 3x term over to the other side? Subtract. Good. Sean, you think you can do it? So we're going to subtract 3x from both sides. Sean, what am I going to bring down over here on the left side?
2y.
2y equals, are these like terms, Sean?
No. Yeah, negative 1 minus 3x.
You're going to put your x term first because we're converting into y equals mx plus b.
Okay. Then you,
How do I get, yeah, not by 2y. If I want to, yeah, just by 2. Good. And then it cancels. What's my final answer?
y equals negative 3x over 2 minus 1, negative 1 over 2. Oh, wait.
Sean, what's my slope?
The slope is y equals negative 3.
What's my slope if this is my equation? My slope is the coefficient in front of the x.
Oh, negative 3 over 2.
What's my y-intercept?
Negative 1/2.
Good job, guys.
It's like little Albert Einstein.
What's your P? And you're almost done?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Now, this one, it says write the standard form. So standard form is what? AX plus BY equals what? C. Good. So this is the stuff that we were doing last week, but now we're going to have to convert them from slope-intercept form into standard form. And that's why I didn't give you guys too many of them. Right? Okay. So we have x1, y1, and m. You guys with me? We have negative 3, negative 4, and what's our slope? 7 over 3. We have a point and we have a slope. We're going to use what equation? Point slope. Y minus y1 equals, keep going, Layla.
Equals m parentheses x minus x1.
Layla, substitute in my y1.
Y subtract negative 1 equals 7 over 3. Parentheses x subtract by 3.
Alberto, what rule with this double negative is going to make them positive? What does this mean I have to do? What is this called? With the arches, what's this called? Distribute. Y plus 4 equals, what is 7 over 3 times x?
7 over 3x.
Good, Alberto. And then I heard you getting out your calculator. What's 7 divided by 3 in parentheses, because what do we always put around fractions? Times 3.
7.
Positive or negative?
Positive.
There's one more step. Layla, if I'm adding 4 on the left side, how do I get the y by itself?
Subtract 4, both sides.
Yep. So this is y equals 7 over 3x. What's 7 minus 4?
3.
Plus 3. Now this is slope-intercept form. I would have you guys stop there, but what do I want my answer in? Not in slope-intercept form, but in standard. So standard is ax plus by equals c. This is what we just did today. So my x needs to move from this part on the right side over to the left side. Yes, ma'am. I asked Marie about them, and she says that she has them in her office, and I just haven't had the opportunity to get up there. She might be in her office still. Yeah. So if I have a positive 7 over 3x, how can I move it from the right side over to the left side? By subtracting. And the EOC loves funky looking fractions. So the 7 over 3x positive minus 7 over 3x cancels. What do I have left over on the right side? 3. Don't forget about our lonely 3. And then my negative 7 over 3x plus y. It has to be a whole number, Jen says, and it also can't be what? Negative. So my very first thing I want to change is the sign. So I'm going to make it now a positive 7 over 3. But that means I have to change the sign on everything. So it's not going to be a positive y anymore. It's going to be a negative y. It's not going to be a positive 3 anymore. It's going to be a negative 3. So if I wanted to rewrite it, it would be 7 over 3x minus y equals negative 3. We're almost done here, guys. I can't have a fraction. This can't be 7 divided by 3. So I can take this dividing by 3, and I've got to multiply both sides by 3. Because the inverse of division is what? Multiplication. So when I multiply by the 3 for the first term, it just cancels out the denominator. So now I don't have what's in the bottom anymore. But I still have a number on top. What's my number on top? 7x. What's 3 times negative y? Negative 3y. And what's negative 3 times positive 3? Negative 9. It's a lot of work for one problem. Probably have time for 2 more. Okay, these ones require a lot of work. All right. You were really good with the tables here, Kaylee. We got x1, y1, and m. Same step first. I'm going to set up my x1, y1, m table. You did a great job with that. Negative 1, negative 4, and negative 1. Kaylee, what's my equation? Do you remember it off the top of your head, or can you repeat this one up here for me?
Y minus y1 equals m, and then we use parentheses x minus x1.
Beautiful. Kaylee, let's do my substitution. Y minus, what's my y1?
Your y1 is negative 4.
What's my m?
Your m is going to be negative 1.
And what's my x? 1.
Your x1 is negative 1.
ALT, what's the rule that's going to let me
KCC.
change these into positives? Was that what I had to do with this negative 1 on the outside? Y plus 4 equals, does that help me with the distributing? What's negative 1 times x? I don't need to put the 1 in front, right? And what's negative 1 times positive 1? Jen, what's the inverse operation I have to use to get the,
Subtraction.
you didn't even need to have me finish it, you already knew. This cancels the 4's on this side. I get y equals negative x, keep going.
-5.
Excellent. This one's not going to be half as hard as number 21. So this is my slope-intercept form, but I don't want it in slope-intercept form. I want it in standard form, which is ax plus by equals c. So I've got to move this negative x term from the right side over to the left side, just like I have in my equation. I have an x term and a y term on the left side of the equal sign now. So what's the inverse operation that's going to get rid of the negative x? And this one's a piece of cake. So I have x plus y on the left equals, what's my constant on the right side? Negative 5. The x is already positive and the x is already a whole number, so that was only one step required to make that standard form. All right, my little chicken nuggets. And do maybe one more. Flip it. I'm going to do number 26, y'all. So that way, because this is a trickier one, because these have the 2 points. There's one more step I have to do with this one. What can I find between 2 points? Slope. Good, Layla. Set up your XY table. 0, -1, -3, 1. What's my y2? First of all, what's my equation for slope? We don't need to memorize it, but it's y2 minus what? Over x2 minus x1. What's my y2? Excuse me. 1 minus
Oh, no.
is -1. Where'd you guys get a 4 from? And then you do -3. Good, Michael. Alberto, what do I do here?
KCC.
Yes. What's 1 plus 2? Or what's 1 plus 1?
2.
2. -3 minus 0. -3, good. So now I have my m. Now I have my slope. Gosh, these ones require so many steps. So I've got my x1, y1, and my m table now. My x1 and y1, I like to be consistent and use the x1 and y1 that I used with slope, but you could use the other point if you wanted to. So we'll do 0, -1, and 2 over 3 negative. Point slope equation. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Good. Guest star, Evelyn. You're jumping right in. Evelyn, looking at my table right here and looking at my point slope equation, what's my y1 that I'm going to substitute in? Very good. What's my m? Excellent. Am I excellent? Good. Alberto, the rule.
KCC.
He's my KCC rule guy. Lizette, what do I have to do here? With the -2/3. Very good. So this gives me y plus 1 equals, what's -2/3 times x? What's -2/3 times 0? Some people like to put it as a placeholder, so that way it's easy when you see that you have to subtract 1 on both sides. How do I know I have to subtract 1 on both sides to isolate my y? Because it's a plus 1. Probably shouldn't have given you guys this many problems. I might cut this down tomorrow in class. And it'll be because of you guys doing tutoring with me that I'll cut it down. So this is going to cancel. And I get y equals, especially because I don't think I gave you guys enough room for this, -2/3 x. What's 0 minus 1? Okay, I know it's hard. This is in slope-intercept form, y'all. I don't want it in slope-intercept form. I want it in what? I want it in what? It says standard form, yes. AX plus BY equals C. So if I have a negative 2/3 x, I want to move this term over to the left side since that's where I have my x term in my equation. My x and my y term are on what side of the equal sign? On the left, good. So if I have a negative 2/3 x, bye Alberto. What am I going to do to move the negative 2/3 x? I have to do what? I have a negative in front already, so what do I have to do? Not subtract, but add. Gosh, that's a lot of work. These are not like terms on the left side. So I have 2/3 x plus y equals, what's my only number that's left over on the right side after I've moved? -1, good. Now I have two rules with this term right here. It can't be negative and it can't be a fraction. Do I have to change the sign of this or is it a positive already? It's a positive already, but it's a fraction. It's dividing by 3. So it's the inverse operation that will get rid of the dividing. Multiplication. We're going to multiply the whole thing, including the other side, by 3. So when I multiply by 3 for the first term, it just cancels out the bottom. And what do I have left up on the top? 2. And you have to stick the x on there. And now I'm going to distribute the 3 to the y. What is 3 times y? 3y. Positive or negative? And what's -1 times 3? As if we added. Michael was right. Look at all of that for one problem. But it's so satisfying when you finish it. And so that's going to be how you guys do these other ones. I think I'm going to cut this down for you guys tomorrow. And I'll make not as many of them required. And if you do them, I'll give you guys extra credit. So that's our video, y'all.